Notes on Perspective by Tom Chittum, recorded May 25, 2023. First, thanks to all the kind people who left messages after reading about my recent illness. I went to an alternative medicine guy here in San Juan and got $500 worth of vitamin IV drip. I'll keep all you kind people posted. Now I want to talk about Colonel Douglas MacGregor and perspective. Colonel MacGregor is by far the best English language commentator on the web, and I listen to his every word. You should too. Typically, our opinions overlap so much it's almost scary. The Colonel knows a lot more than my humble self, especially about history. Still, there are some things that the good Colonel has gotten wrong, or he simply doesn't want to walk through these verbal minefields, if you will. Here they are. The Colonel keeps referring to 40,000 or 50,000 USA, quote, combat troops, unquote, in Europe. No, these guys are not combat troops. They will collapse under heavy fighting, just as the American, quote, combat troops, unquote, in Vietnam turned into a fragging and doped up mob saved only by massive American firepower. This time it will be even worse. Much, much worse. Those not promptly massacred by superior Russian firepower and thermobaric bombs and tactics will run west like jackrabbits. And if Uncle Sam tries to draft either Iowa farm boys or entitled minority city boys, they will burn down the recruiting offices and the draft boards and then entire cities. The inability of the USA to raise a huge military necessary to fight Russia or China is a fact of life that most don't see because they can't or don't want to, or because their supper depends on them parroting the Purple Gang line. Keep in mind that Colonel MacGregor was an officer and was thus insulated from the tribal divisions that plagued our Vietnam efforts. He never had to worry about any privates fragging him because he had not personally been in a real and prolonged meat grinder. Next, he has scoffed at the idea of us fighting a war with Mexico and shares a common delusion that we'd whip them in 48 hours like some Clint Eastwood movie. Just explain to me who is going to do the actual fighting. Our heavily Hispanic military? Ha ha! They will turn their guns around just like the Hispanic cops throughout the Southwest. The Mexicans wouldn't even have to win. Just burning down every major city of the Southwest will collapse us as a nation. Also, be advised that the Colonel knows that our overhyped aircraft carriers will be instantly sunk if they strut their stuff within 1,000 miles of Russian or Chinese shores. We've only got about a dozen of these ridiculous floating dinosaurs. They are impossible to hide and impossible to defend. Just after World War II, these things were the golden coin of the realm of the glorious Pax Americana. Nowadays, you're just old military bums, good only for the source of sustaining defense contractors. Then there's the eternal problem of the Purple Gang leeches who are in charge of our military, as well as our more visible domination of our media. They have redirected our military from its traditional role of global ass kicker and thief into a traveling mafia bust-out job crew designed and only good for robbing banana pickers with nothing more to defend themselves with machetes down in the Caribbean. That's what's going on in the Ukraine. Countless young Ukrainian men are being monetized, yes, monetized, by their transformation into corpses by never-ending suicide charges whose only purpose is to buy time so the Purple Gang can rake in more billions and their latest bust-out caper. That's all. See you next week.